Welcome to another episode of Ballroom Boxing. And today's focus will be Triple G. There'll be some other boxing talk tied into the video, but the focus is Triple G. And the reason for that is because he was just stripped of the IBF title. Basically for ducking his mandatory, Darian Chankov. I hope I'm saying his name right. And that seems to have been a common theme in Triple G's career. But let's rewind the clock a little bit. Back when Triple G was pretty much a UFO in the boxing world. Now, I don't know if I saw this on Dante's channel, but I do recall a video where I heard Abel Sanchez's voice and saw his mouth speak the words, on why he got Gennady Golovkin. He basically said, he started training Gennady Golovkin because he was white, and he saw it as a money making opportunity. I'm not gonna, necessarily discredit him for taking up an opportunity as a businessman. But let's fast forward that a little bit. I just wanted to throw that in there because I've always been skeptical of Abel Sanchez's character. You can tell a lot from people when they talk to you, how they talk to you, the manner in which they speak to you. Abel Sanchez is he's a flim flam artist. You know what I'm saying? He'll talk you to death. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those dudes. He has the gift of gab. He'll say a million words and that shit'll be absolute nothing. But he's so good at it. You know what I'm saying? He's a snake oil salesman. You understand what I'm saying? He double talks. He talks out of both sides of his fucking neck. And it's something that I peeped very early on with Abel Sanchez when I started seeing his interviews. That is, but anyway. So Gennady Golovkin comes on the scene, and he's looking pretty unstoppable, right? He's just knocking out everybody he gets in the ring with. Hasn't gone 12 rounds with anybody up to this point, right? So they make the comment. Now, I recall them saying they'll fight anybody from 147 up to 168 because they wanted the Mayweather fight. I could be mistaken in that. But we'll just say, for argument's sake, he called out anybody from 154 to 168. Now, he was willing to only go down, I believe, at the time for just Floyd because he wanted the payday. Right? He was going to, basically go down from middleweight to 147 to fight Floyd, or 54 rather. Now, he was called out by Erislandy Lara. He didn't want any problems with Erislandy Lara at all. Andre Ward caught wind of this. Oh, okay. Anybody at 168? I got you. Come up to 168 and we can make it happen. Triple G said out of his own mouth he doesn't want the Andre Ward fight. Andre Ward he's too much for him at that point. He's too much for me. He said that out of his own mouth. But Abel Sanchez spoke that shit on Triple G's behalf. And it opened up a can of worms for Triple G that apparently he wasn't ready to actually deal with. Now, to not undermine his entire career, there were plenty of dudes that ducked him. Danny Jacobs didn't want to fight him right offhand. Billy Joe Saunders didn't want to fight Golovkin right offhand. There were quite a few people who did not want to step into the ring with him. Now, when Danny Jacobs did step into the ring with him, Danny Jacobs did expose some things about Golovkin. Some things that if you are an avid boxing fan or know anything about the sport, there were certain things about Triple G that were very noticeable. One, his defense. He takes a lot of punches. Mind you, he is a silver medalist, so the man can box, but he's lacking in the defensive department. He's not good fighting off the back foot. In fact, when he's going backwards, he's not giving you much of anything at all. But the things that he does well is what has propelled him into the limelight. But I recall when Triple G wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez. See, you guys remember this also. Canelo Alvarez beat Miguel Cotto, took his middleweight strap. Now, he took that belt knowing full well that Gennady Golovkin was the mandatory for that belt. Canelo ducked Gennady Golovkin and gave up the belt, right? Gave up the belt. Went down to 154. Not his made-up weight class of 155, which he used as a way to be in between 160 and 154. You know what I'm saying? So he can maneuver and duck fights that he didn't want to necessarily have to take. And by the way, I believe Canelo lost the Erislandy Law fight. And if it wasn't for the knockdown in the Austin Trout fight, I would say a draw. But even still, the round that he knocked Austin Trout down in, Austin Trout actually came back in that round. So that's an iffy one. And by the way, Austin Trout is actually slated to fight Jamel Charlo. That's going to be a good fight. Some people are predicting that, I listened to the Smoke City Mobcast, some people are predicting that Charlo is going to knock Austin Trout out. I don't know. Austin Trout can fight, man. He's not a sucker, and he actually goes in there to win. So, but we'll see. Now, moving along, Canelo ducked Triple G, went down to 154, fought Liam Smith, took his belt. I believe Jamal Charlo was the mandatory for that belt. Canelo didn't want any smoke with any of those dudes at 154. None of the top dudes. None of them. So he vacates that belt. Goes up to 168 to quote-unquote fight Chavez to quote-unquote prepare for Triple G. But they don't fight at 168. They fight at like 165 and a half. They weight drain the shit out of Chavez Jr. You know what I'm saying? So he goes in the ring weak as fuck. And he was basically in there for 12 rounds just getting his face smashed in. But to his discredit, Canelo couldn't even stop this weight drained, sick, malnourished Chavez Jr. who just walked forward and didn't throw it. I can't even remember him throwing a punch. That's how many I don't even think he landed a punch. Man, the kid did so little in the fight. It's hard to say. That was just a horrible fight. Chavez Jr. completely disappointed me in that one. Not that I had high hopes for him anyway, but he really just, yeah. Anyway, couldn't drop him, didn't stop him, didn't even visibly hurt him. It didn't seem like, but he beats up on Chavez Jr. Now he fights Gennady Golovkin. I'm not going to give my opinion on that fight. It was called a draw. Canelo has always had some very shifty and shady scoring in his fights. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But based on that performance, I never said that Canelo couldn't fight. But he was juiced up. He was taking the clenbuterol. You know, he got popped for it. So without the clenbuterol, does Canelo do as well at 160 as some people seem to think he can? I don't think so. Now, some people are saying that he may fight Danny Jacobs, or that Oscar De La Hoya is looking at Danny Jacobs. And I also heard that he was going to go up to 168. I see Canelo doing in the middleweight division what he did in the junior middleweight division. I see him straddling super middleweight and middleweight, you know, being in between, making up his own rules and fighting who he wants to fight, dragging people up or weight draining people down to the way he wants to fight them at. That's what I see him doing all over again. You know what I'm saying? Not really fighting, just basically, I mean, he is a prize fighter, but, you know, with prize fighting comes the challenge of being the best and being unified and undisputed. That's what the fans want to see. Canelo's not giving his fans that. He's not giving any of us that. And his predominant fan base seems to be okay with allowing this shit to happen. Now to segue into Triple G, his fan base seems to be okay with him ducking his mandatories. Danny Jacobs is the mandatory for his WBC belt. Jamal Charlo is a mandatory for another belt. He just lost the IBF belt. Darianchenko was the mandatory for that belt. He pulled up Vanes Monterosa, who was fighting at 154, who had been on the couch for 2 years. He pulled him up for 154 just so he can beat the shit out of somebody real quick. Now, ever since the clenbuterol incident, Gennady Golovkin basically tried to renegotiate the rematch with Canelo by saying he wanted more than 35%. He wanted 50%. Oscar De La Hoya pretty much said, fuck you, you're not getting that. Now, this is the thing, right? Gennady Golovkin led all of us to believe that he was chasing undisputed, right? That he was looking to unify the division. We saw Billy Joe Saunders holding up that process because he was ducking Golovkin and holding on to that fucking belt. He had the nerve to say not too long ago that he felt as though he was a better middleweight champion than Bernard Hopkins, and he believed that he had a better resume. That is patently absurd. Compare Gennady Golovkin's resume to Bernard Hopkins' resume. Please, just do that. I mean, do it. I mean, you even if you are biased, there's no way you can argue that Triple G has a better resume and was a better middleweight champion than Bernard Hopkins. There's no way, no how, no day, no fucking way that he is a better fighter than Bernard Hopkins. This man went up to fucking light heavyweight and became champion. He was beating up on dudes he was old enough to be their father. In some cases, probably their grandfather. I remember when he beat the shit out of Tavoris Cloud. Come on, man. Triple G hasn't done he's only done a fraction of what Bernard Hopkins has done. And for him to be so fucking disrespectful is ridiculous. And that's why he is being revealed as the fucking fraud that most of us came to see him for being a long time ago. He is doing exactly what he ridiculed Canelo for. Remember, when Canelo gave up the belt that he won from Cotto, Triple G went on his tirade. Give me my belts. Give me my belts. Canelo's not a fighter. He's a businessman. And now, you're the fucking businessman. What I find very disturbing is the fact that boxing fans are allowing these jackasses to basically be as hypocritical as they can possibly be. I'm really not understanding that shit. We all know that boxing is a corrupt sport. Yes, we know it is corrupt. We know that rankings and belts sometimes are bought, sold, and not necessarily won. We see this shit happen all the time. But there has to be some level of integrity when it comes to the fans, because we can actually get this shit in order if we protest enough. If we stop supporting the dumb shit, we can move mountains when it comes to boxing. Triple G has disappointed his fan base. He has disappointed boxing, period. He has been for quite some time now, only after big money fights. He allowed Oscar De La Hoya, a man who wears female clothing and likes to be penetrated anally with kitchen utensils. He's a fucking weirdo and he's a junkie. He allowed this dude to talk him out of unifying his division just for the opportunity to fight Canelo for a fucking money fight in which he cheated in the first place. You had all the cards. Now you don't have any because you let yourself get swindled by fucking Oscar De La Hoya. Tom Loeffler is his promoter, and Tom Loeffler is doing a bad job. 7-8 Sports pointed that out, and I tend to agree with him. Tom Loeffler is doing a horrible job with this dude's career. I truly believe that. You were a unified champion in the division. You had multiple belts in the division. You weren't undisputed, but you had multiple belts in the division. Going for unification with the Billy Joe Saunders fight. You should have said fuck Canelo and fought the Billy Joe Saunders fight. That would have spoken more to your credibility and your legacy than fighting fucking Canelo Alvarez. It would have done more for your legacy. Especially since, hindsight being 2020, Canelo cheated anyway, which taints the fight anyway. But I agree with a lot of the opinions out there that that Triple G's career is almost over. It's a bust, man. If he can redeem himself. I mean, he really can redeem himself. But if he continues to do the bullshit he's doing, what the fuck is the point, man? Get one more fight and retire. Give up the fucking belt, because Abel Sanchez, like I said, this forked tongue speaking out of both sides of his neck ass motherfucker says that Gennady Golovkin was looking for unification, becoming undisputed, and then in an interview says, and I think it was what Michelle Joy Phelps in an interview says, we don't need the belt. The WBC, Gennady's gonna fight who he wants to fight. If the WBC wants that belt, they can have the belt. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, but that was pretty much the gist of what he's saying. He was saying. So, man, they now look at the con job. They are swindling the public. They're making the public thinking that they're standing on principle and integrity, when in fact they're being hypocrites. You're not standing on any real principles or integrity by lying to the masses of boxing fans, calling yourself Mexican style, but as soon as you stepped in the ring with Danny Jacobs, all of a sudden, all that Mexican style shit was flushed down the toilet. Oh yeah, and fuck Abel Sanchez for saying black fighters don't sell. What it is that he's scared to get Gennady Golovkin back in the ring with a black fighter that can actually fight. This is his way of avoiding the Jamal Charlo fight, the Danny Jacobs rematch. This is his way of doing that. But if he says, Eastern European, is Darren Yachenko from Eastern Europe? I'm not sure. The name sounds like he could be. But if he says something about them, then he alienates a lot of different. Oh shit! Sorry about that. He alienates a lot of other demographics in boxing. But in any event, this is all I wanted to say on the whole Gennady Golovkin situation. I'll talk about other fighters in the next video. In fact, the next video I should be talking about Terence Crawford, even though the fight is tomorrow and I'm doing this video on Friday night. I'm gonna see about trying to watch the fight. I gotta see about purchasing the ESPN app. Now, I didn't do a lot of videos. I've been busy, guys, and I just want to give you guys this disclaimer for anybody, for all future improbable subs to my channel. I do run my own business, so I get caught up in the whirlwind a lot of times, and keeping my business operational and my life afloat is priority over YouTube videos. But I will get to them. It's just gonna take some time. But I should do something on Terence Crawford, and hopefully, if I'm not busy as fuck Saturday, I will be able to actually watch the fight, because I do want to watch the fight. I do want to support Terence Crawford. I believe that if there is any active fighter who is a pound-for-pound fighter, it is definitely Terence Crawford. Everybody else needs to fucking catch up. But that's all I got for right now, guys. I just wanted to give that this little interlude on Gennady Golovkin, my opinion on the situation with Gennady Golovkin. He has been exposed as a fraud. His career is not what they painted the picture to be. It is the exact opposite, actually. I believe that he has the potential to do great things in boxing, but who the fuck's ever going to see that shit if you keep on dancing around the actual fights that will make your career? Stop being afraid. I mean, you guys are professional fighters. You get paid to get punched in the fucking face, but you do so going about boxing like you're scared to get punched in the fucking face. I can't understand the irony behind that. I really don't understand it. People keep saying this boxing is a business. Bullshit. Every time I hear somebody say boxing is a business, to me that's going to always translate into you're trying to avoid fighting this dude. You're trying to avoid answering a question. You're trying to avoid saying you don't want to fight that person. It could be each one of those things all together, or it could be one of those things individually, or any, in any fucking grouping of them. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I believe. I believe that if you say boxing is a business, you're trying to avoid the conversation, the question, the fighter, you know what I'm saying, or the situation altogether. Yes, boxing is a business. That's why you motherfuckers have managers and promoters and shit. People around you who know about the business, PR personnel and all that kind of shit. Yeah, boxing is a business. That's why you fucking hire business people to handle your business for you. It is also a fucking sport. And in any competitive competition, it did sound kind of redundant. In any competitive sport, in any competition, being better than the people you are competing against is usually what drives you. Wanting to win is the confirmation that you were better than them that day. And ultimately beating the guys who are at the top of the heap and replacing them at the top of the heap to be the best. But if all you're doing is fighting for the fucking money, that's going to make boxing a very boring sport for the rest of us. Because I don't want to fucking see middleweights beat up on 154 pounders who've been on the couch for 2 years. Now, if you're pulling up an Arizona Law, somebody who is active, somebody who's always in shape, and who is actually ready to fight you right now, that's a whole different story. But never mind a 154 pounder. Who the fuck needs to fight 154 pounders when you have an active and live division that you are currently fighting in with live dogs who are chomping at the bit to get at you? You're not in need of fights, bro. You don't need to pull anybody up from any other weight classes to fight them. You have multiple dudes who are trying to get at you. You're ducking them. You ridiculed Canelo for ducking you, and now you're doing the same thing that you ridiculed Canelo for. I know I said that more than once, but I really want to drop that point home. You know, you guys make it really hard to like you as fighters when you guys do this pussy ass shit, man. I mean, real talk. You dudes are making money hand over foot for non-international boxing. Shout out to him. This is what he said this in the fight. You know, like bro, like I'm not making $300,000 every 36 minutes or 36 minutes, but for a fighter that is low based on, you know, what we see fighters getting, but at the same time, the average person doesn't make 6 fucking figures in 36 minutes. You understand what I'm saying? Most motherfuckers are hourly wage employees. You're making some people's salary over the next 20 years in less than an hour. Bro, what are you complaining about? You know what I'm saying? Like you dudes aren't hungry for anything, but you motherfuckers keep on wanting more. And what you don't realize is the fans that you fuckers diss are the people who pay the price for your higher fucking purses. We're the ones that pay the price, but then at the same time, you fighters treat the fans like they ain't shit. Something's got to change. You know what I'm saying? Just like Bruce Leroy. We got the power. We got the glow, motherfucker. If we start watching boxing, motherfuckers don't make millions of dollars. But anyway, man, that's all I got. I love the sport of boxing. It gets on my fucking nerves sometimes. It's very disheartening to watch my sport be controlled by fucking bloodsuckers. But anywhere that there are large sums of money to be made, you're always going to find your motherfucking charlatans in the mist with their hands in the dirt. But in any event, man, this is what I have on Triple G. I still think he can redeem himself and his career. But if he keeps going down this path, it is not going to happen. And he is going to go down in history as a fucking fraud. And I'm out. Peace.